Now, do you have trouble sleeping? Maybe it's your partner's fault. Cameron Diaz was talking on a podcast about how she would like to normalise separate sleeping in married couples. She said it's been extremely beneficial for her own living situation and relationship. We can talk to Dr. Lindsay Browning, who's a sleep expert and chartered psychologist. Good afternoon, Dr. Lindsay.
Hello.
Now, what are the benefits of sleeping separately?
Absolutely. We tend to sleep better when we are comfortable, when we're not being disrupted by noise and other people's movements. So therefore, it makes perfect sense that we would sleep better when we're separate. But of course, sleeping separately is something that can be difficult if you only have one bedroom that you share. Or socially, we can find ourselves thinking that sleeping in two separate bedrooms can seem like, oh no, there's a problem with our marriage. People feel quite uncomfortable with having, or at least talking about sleeping in separate bedrooms. But it's the norm in many, many, many couples, especially those whose children have left home. They have a spare bedroom because the kids have gone off to uni. And a lot of people, once their children have left home, do find themselves sleeping in separate bedrooms, happily married couples, because it's just fantastic for both their sleep.
I think your first point about whether or not you've got room to be able to have separate bedrooms is absolutely the key thing here. So if we just accept that we're talking about couples who do have room to choose to sleep apart, that cultural significance is also key, isn't it? I mean, are there any cultures where it's just completely normal to always sleep apart?
Well, I'd say that sleeping in the same bed is often seen as a poor person's solution. But if you think about the Queen, God rest her soul, she and Prince Philip slept in separate wings of the house. It's really known that if you have the ability to sleep separately, that people often choose to do so. But when we are in physical contact with our partner, then we produce oxytocin, and actually, that intimacy, we need that in a relationship. And if you've got young kids, if you don't have time, then maybe when you're in bed together is the only time you'll have to be physically in contact and get that time and that physical touch with each other.
Yeah.
So if you do decide to sleep separately, it's important to make time to have that physical closeness, whether that means, snuggling up on the sofa or going to a shared bed at the beginning of the night, and then once you've had some intimacy, go to your separate bedrooms.
Yes, I like your terminology there, key to a tea time audience, Dr. Lindsay. But there is also a joy of being in the same bed as somebody, isn't there? That feeling of warmth, that feeling of security, that feeling of togetherness.
Yeah, got to weigh that up. So some studies have shown, for example, that single women sleep better when there's a dog in the bed with them because they have someone there, they feel safer. So again, you're a couple, you're together, you have that sense of safety. So it's very much about personal preference. If you want to sleep together and you're not able to do so because your partner is snoring horrifically, then actually rather than just jumping to, right, well, we'll sleep in separate bedrooms, it's a good idea to try and solve the problem. So if someone is snoring or they're really restless in their sleep, then seeking help to fix that problem is probably the best thing to do so that you can stay sleeping happily together in the same bed. You get that intimacy, that closeness to a relationship.
Absolutely. And it does keep you sane, getting enough sleep, doesn't it? Thank you very much indeed for your expertise. That's Dr. Lindsay Browning.